Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be looking at a brand new game which just came out today if you're watching this live on the Twitch channel, yesterday if you're watching this on YouTube. The game came out on the 30th of March, and the game is called Total Tank Generals. This is a sponsored video, so thanks to the folks from 505 Games, the publisher of the game, and Noobs from Poland, the developer of the game, for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in checking the game out, there's a link in the description to the Steam page. We're going to be taking a look at this new game, which is a turn-based World War II strategy and war game. And it is kind of, I would say, in the vein of like some of the classic turn-based war games, like if you go way back to the 90s. But we're going to go ahead and jump in and take a look at this. So the game has single scenario options. It has a campaign option. It has a little advisor section where it kind of gives you different information about these, you know, how you play. And actually, I think the way, and we'll look at it when we jump into the game, but I think the way that the airfields work is kind of unique in these kind of style of games. So that I'm curious to see. I haven't played a ton of this yet, but I've jumped in a little bit to take a look at it, and I'm curious to see how that feels, because I think one of the areas that a lot of these kind of games do a kind of a superficial job is the way they handle air units, and Total Tank Generals does air combat very differently. So we'll take a look and we'll see, you know, if this is indeed different. Now, before we jump into the actual campaign, which is what we're going to be playing in today's video, I did want to go ahead and take a real quick look at the scenario editor and the scenario list for the individual battles, because this game has a really intuitive and user-friendly scenario creator, and I think that could really lend some life to this game on like the modding circuit, and just for folks who want to create their own experiences, because I don't do a lot of scenario generating or making mods or anything like that, not much at all. Usually creating scenarios is beyond me, but I'm not sure I've ever seen one as intuitive as this. So like if you go into the single scenario section, you can see, let's say you look at the Battle of Anzio, you can see the player prestige, artillery, the stack limits. You can tweak things around if you want to have more support, less support, more infantry, more prestige, less prestige. Very user friendly there. Enemy prestige as well can be modified. You can actually go in and you can edit the map. So you can go in here and you can see this is the Anzio map. You can see the different units that appear to be on the map. You can expand the map, increase the width, so you can see just like that. That's a very, by the way, this is a very easy scenario editor here for these existing scenarios. You can change the victory conditions just by clicking back and forth. You can change the landscape if you want. You can have North Africa. There's some presets for the different types of terrains. You can add actual different types of things here. So I'm assuming depending on the map, there might be certain limits in terms of, I don't know if I can put a city. Oh no, I can put a city here. So look, we just built a new city. We're just gonna make one big urban map if we want. We can just do that, or we can make a whole bunch of hills here too instead, or add swamp or whatever. You can add lakes. You can all those binomes. You can add roads, paved roads, dirt roads, rivers. Add different objectives for, you know, either empty objectives, player controlled objectives, enemy controlled objectives. This is very user friendly for map editing, unit editing, adding things around, adding reinforcements at different points in the scenario. That is incredibly simple. You could clear the map and make it from scratch. You can create your own scenario from scratch. So the scenario editor in this game is tremendously easy. I'm not a big scenario creator, but like this looks like something that like heck I could give a go. So these are the developer created scenarios. You can create your own custom ones. The sort of chart they gave me for the game itself, because this is a sponsored stream, as I've said several times before. But the chart they gave me for the game was basically like, this is incredibly user friendly for modding, and will be very open to creating new scenarios, creating mods, things like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm curious to see what players might do with that. But those are the individual scenarios, and then those are the campaigns. So not like a skirmish mode per se where something is generated automatically, but I would imagine players are going to create a whole bunch of different scenarios that you'll be able to play and download and whatnot from like the Steam Workshop. So that's pretty awesome. and pretty straightforward. With that being said, we're 5 minutes into this thing and we haven't actually looked at the gameplay yet. So why don't we go ahead and jump right into the campaign. We're going to play as the Soviets here and the Georgy Zhukov campaign. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's go ahead and jump into the campaign because we're gonna play for a bit. And it looks like there's 3 campaigns that are included in this game. You've got a Rommel campaign, a Zhukov campaign, and a Patton campaign. So a German, a Soviet, and a American campaign. I don't know. It doesn't look like it gives me a whole lot of information about the particulars. I'm assuming the Rommel campaign starts earlier in the war. The Zhukov campaign. Well, let's just take a look. We can always jump back. Ooh.
Georgy Zhukov, a man considered by many to be the symbol of Russian military operations on the Eastern Front. The marshal who conquered Berlin and was granted the honor of accepting the German surrender. A commander well respected and even feared during the post-war years by Joseph Stalin himself. In the beginning, nothing seemed to indicate the heights of fame and glory young Georgy would once reach. He was born to a poor family of farmers, and by the age of 9 was sent to Moscow to work under his uncle's supervision as a furrier. It was during the First World War that Zhukov became involved in the military. Enlisted into the Tsar's army, he was wounded in battle from a grenade explosion and was awarded with the St. George's Cross twice for his extraordinary courage in battle. Zhukov supported the revolution which started raging throughout Russia and took part in the civil war fighting against the Tsar's soldiers. Climbing the ranks of the newly established Red Army, he commanded a novel tank regiment as well as a cavalry corps. Zhukov quickly understood the importance tanks would present in modern war and was a strong advocate for the modernization of the Soviet army. Zhukov's first military success as a commander was the Russo-Japanese War of 1939. Commanding the Red Army in the Battle of Khalkhin Gol in eastern Mongolia, he has managed to inflict crippling damage to his opponents. This would be the first time Zhukov managed to turn the tides of history. Japanese defeat in Mongolia was followed by a change of focus for their territorial conquests from Northern Asia to the Pacific. For his victories over Japan in Asia, Zhukov was awarded with the highest Soviet distinction, the title Hero of the Soviet Union. On the eve of the German invasion of the Soviet Union, Zhukov was already a part of the inner circle of the highest Soviet military command as a chief of staff of the Red Army. He had an understanding of the course of a hypothetical Soviet-German conflict coming from a multitude of covert simulations. Soon enough, Zhukov and other Soviet officers would be able to put their skills to the test. On June 22, 1941, the German Reich would begin their invasion of the Soviet Union. This war would bring eternal glory to many Soviet commanders, and, perhaps most of all, to Georgy Zhukov himself.
Okay, so that's a nice little intro video for the general. I'm assuming each of the 3 generals has something like that, Patton and Rommel as well. It looks like the campaign for Zhukov starts with the Moscow counteroffensive. So we're not going to be playing in the east at, oh my goodness, I forget the name of that, the battle against the Japanese, which they mentioned in the video, Khalkhin Gol or something like that. But it looks like we're going to be starting on the Eastern Front, fighting against the Germans after the initial invasion in Barbarossa, when Zhukov's forces launched a counteroffensive against the Germans. You can see it's December 5th, 1941. Following that, the campaign, it's pretty linear in terms of like telling you, or not linear, but like it's very open in telling you what all the battles are in the campaign, it would appear. So starting with the Moscow counteroffensive, then you've got Operation Uranus, Operation Iskara, the Battle of Kursk, Operation Bagration, and the Battle of Berlin. Uranus is the counterattack at Stalingrad, I believe, right? I'm not familiar with Iskara. Obviously, Kursk, Bagration need no introduction. But let's go ahead and play the Moscow counteroffensive here. And we can always take a look. We can jump in and out of different battles, if you will, or different parts of the campaign. We can check the Rommel campaign out in a bit.
they strongly believed that the strategy of blitzkrieg would allow them to conclude their campaign before winter arrived. Despite many early victories, the pouring rain, Russian frost, and unexpected Soviet resistance depleted the German offensive of its momentum only a couple of dozen kilometers from the capital. Georgy Zhukov, who commands the defense of Moscow, is certain that this is the right time to begin the counter-offensive. Your task is to lead your troops into a historic and unprecedented victory against the German blitzkrieg.
During the Soviet campaign, you'll have higher infantry unit capacity, allowing you to field more of those units relative to other forces. All your infantry units will also benefit from 2 additional max morale and lower prestige costs. We're gonna go with the human wave. You will need to use them effectively since you'll be fighting against German tanks, which are superior to the tanks available to you. What about the T-34? Okay, so it looks like we've got a brilliant 7-turn victory option, a major 10-turn victory option, and a minor 14. Depending on what our victory level is, we get different levels of rewards, I guess. 800 prestige, and I'm assuming this is an SMG unit for a minor victory. 1,000 prestige, the SMG unit, and then I'm assuming this is a heavy infantry unit, or assault infantry. That's what the SMG is, and then a heavy infantry. And then if we do a brilliant victory, we get 1,200, the assault infantry, a T-70 tank, and a heavy infantry as well. Plus, it looks like an Order of Victory medal, which is some kind of achievement. You hate how many turns scoring? Oh, you mean like in terms of you get a higher score if you finish early? I think that's a reasonable approach for games like this, personally. Maybe I'm just so used to it, like they all do that. Okay, to win a mission, you need to control all the main strategic points within the turn limit. I mean, they had some T-34s by this point, but I'm assuming they probably didn't all have radios or things like that. The Germans, I think, had radios in all their tanks. I think the Soviets only had them in like their squadron commanders or whatever. And you could also tell which tanks were the commanders because they had the big ass radios sticking out the back of them. Okay, so we have to take, I'm assuming that's these 2 objectives here, Kalinin and Moskaisk. And then we've got what I assume are side or minor objectives, side strategic points. They're not necessary for victory, but the first time they're captured, the player provides an experience prestige reward. Plus, they're like right on our route to victory. Maybe not the airfield and the whatever this one is here, but so the key ones are Kalinin and Moskaisk, and we've got roadways here. It looks like that we can travel along. That'll bring us directly to those objectives in both cases, and then we've also got a minor objectives here along the way. So we've got, what was it, 7 turns for a major, 10 or 7 for brilliant, 10 for major, 7 for, I'm going backwards. 7 for brilliant, 10 for major, 14 for minor. We've got up to 14 turns. You can see here we've got some armored units up in the top. We've got the YA Tankyova Brigade, medium T-34. So we do have T-34s. We've got the 127 YA Tankova Brigade, light T-26 light tank. These all from the 126, no, 129th, 126, and 86 tank brigades. This one's another T-34 brigade. And then we've also, looks like we got some cavalry here. I'm assuming they're more maneuverable. You can see units are base strength 10. You can zoom in to get a little bit of a better picture here. We also do have some anti-tank guns, some additional light tanks. Mostly the tanks in the south are all light tanks, some armored cars, some mortar troops. And then we also do have some additional, we can spend additional prestige to get more units. So right now we don't have any assault or heavy infantry available to us in this mission, but we can buy more light infantry. These guys armed with, looks like Mosin Nagants. Additionally, we've got support units we can buy, cavalry or BA-10s. We don't have enough capacity to field more anti-tank or anti-air units. We do have artillery. And then we've got tanks as well. You can see there's a stacking limit for each type of unit. So as long as you have enough prestige, you can buy more units. But you do have a stacking limit here. So you can see infantry has 9 units on the map out of a max of 18. And you can see a regular infantry unit has a weight of 1. Assault infantry has a weight of 2. Heavy infantry has a weight of 3. So like if we bought a heavy infantry with a weight of 3, that would push this from 9 up to 12. If we buy an infantry unit, a light infantry unit, it pushes it from 9 to 10. That's the way all of this works here. So again, you've got a weight. I just call it a weight, but you've got a limit of 12 value for support units. Right now we have 10, so we've got 2 available to us, which is the recon or cavalry elements. We have 3 artillery available to us. So I think I'm going to go with an ZIS-3 artillery piece, a towed howitzer, if you will. We do have some mortars on the map. We've got 1, but I always feel like artillery is really important. So we're going to go ahead and spend 400 prestige on an artillery unit. Where do we want to put it? Can I put it in? Oh, we can put it here or down there. We'll put it down here with the anti-aircraft unit. I'm assuming the troops in the south will need a little bit more help because I don't think I saw any heavier tanks down there. So we put that on the map. We spend 400 of our remaining 100 prestige, and that's about it. We did have the ability, if we wanted to buy a T-26 tank because we got a little bit of weight available on the tanks, but frankly, I don't think a T-26 is good enough. If we had enough to... Well, we could have gotten a T-34 too, but I think the artillery is going to be more useful. Okay, you can also see up here, I was talking about air units earlier, so you can see if you select an air unit on the map, you can do air recon, air interception, dive bombing, strategic bombing, and paradrops. And those air abilities or air attacks are based off of like how much air, I guess, how many air points you have, Air Force mission points you get. Right now, we're not getting any. I would think if we take this airfield down here, it looks like it's an open airfield. It doesn't look like we control it. We'll still start accumulating that. I kind of like that approach as opposed to having like a dedicated air unit on the map that flies around. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion in turn-based games, the way a lot of these kind of games try to model air units. I think it's interesting to say like, well, if you have this airfield, then you can use the airfield to launch different types of attacks. The more airfields you have, the more supplies you build up, the greater your ability to use air units. I think that's kind of an interesting idea. Yeah, a true Soviet commander. I love the artillery. All right, so we get to move first because we're on the offensive. So we've got light, and light infantry, 3 light infantry units. I'm going to hold the shift key and select them, and then I will select all of the units in this hex of the infantry type. You can move units either out to the red hex, which is sort of the max movement, or you can use it and move them to the yellow. The yellow, I believe, would leave us with enough action points. You can see that down there in the lower left would leave us enough action points to still launch an attack. If we move them to the past this, there's 2 lines here. So one line basically and a second line. That second line represents our ability to attack or shoot at anyone. So if we move past that second line, we can move, but we can't fight, which I guess I'm okay with. Actually, let's use the cavalry first. So if it's in the green area, you still can attack twice, I guess. If it's in the yellow area, you can attack once. If it's in the red area, you can't attack at all. At least that's my reading of the map. So we'll move the cavalry forward here. We have spotted enemy troops here. Looks like there's light infantry and cavalry in this minor objective. We do have the ability to attack, but I think everything's out of range. Yeah. Some units have multiple hexes of range. Some units don't. Let's use a recon car down here and take this airfield. Enemy spotted over here. We can't tell what's there, but we know there's a bad guy. All right, so we took the airfield. We are now gaining Air Force mission points, and actually we've got 3 right away. So we could immediately do a dive bombing attack. Dealing high damage to hard armor type targets, destroys 1 level of entrenchment and reduces morale. So the recon unit can't attack anymore, so I'm going to move it out into the road. See what it can see. So let's take a look down here. We've got German armor in these woods, or at least recon units in these woods. A light tank and an armored unit in the woods down here to the south. Not sure what's above there, so let's move across the river here. We've also got some light armor here and some German infantry up here. So this recon unit's a bit exposed. There's a lot of Germans all around here. Yeah, I would imagine... Well, I don't know, but I think the maps might get bigger. I'm not sure. All right, so our anti-tank guns, we've got 2 of them, right? No, one of them's artillery. The T-26s, I'm not sure how they're going to fight against these light panzers down there. Let's move here. And then attack not available. Oh, we're not in range. All right, we'll move here. And then we're in range. So we can attack the armored recon car or the tank. Looks like we'll do more damage to them than they to us. Ooh, we can hit this guy without having fire returned on us at all. I'd rather do that. All right, so we hit that enemy armor for 4 units of damage. It reduces it down to 6. There is a German unit up here, though, so... All right, we can move our mortars 1 hex, and then they can drop arty on the enemy. We don't know what's up here, so if we bomb them, we don't know what we're doing damage-wise. I can't quite reach the troops over here, so we'll just go for the ones we can. All right, so it did a little bit of damage to the recon vehicle. This is anti-air. These are all T-26s. Yeah. All right, let's select all of them. And can we not? We can only move. So they can all move to here, but they can't. Oh, that's because there's the anti-tank vehicles there. All right, let's do this. Let's move them, I guess, piecemeal then. And it looks like we'll do more damage to them than they to us. Well, at least if we attack the recon. If we attack the armor, they will hurt us about the same. I'm trying to focus on one of the enemy here to do as much damage as possible. There's enemy infantry up here. Will they shoot back? They will not. We'll fire at these enemy infantry. My anti-aircraft units can do damage to the enemy. That's cool. Nice. It's a nice little ranged weapon. My arty here, 1 to 4, up to 6, 2 to 6. Yeah, let's do that. We missed, but we did drive him back. They retreated at least. Only have enough points to attack once. Okay. Let's move our infantry to guard the airfield from the enemy. I don't know if the enemy is going to counterattack me at all, but just to be sure, I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with my troops. I don't want to overextend them. Okay. All right, that's everybody in the south. In the north, these German troops are dug in a little bit by appearances on the map here. There are entrenchment levels to worry about. Doesn't look like that armor can get anywhere where they can shoot. So we're going to go ahead and select all these guys. And we'll just advance them. Now, this little icon here, this little shoot icon means that it's an overwatch, which means that they will actually shoot back at you if you get in range. Or I guess if that's... So let's just move the infantry into these woods. I don't know if they're going to get shot at from there. Doesn't look like it. I'm assuming they'll only get shot at if they advance to the next hex. Okay, I can only move like. I can only stack like for like. So T-34s can stack with T-34s, but not with T-26s. That's interesting. So move the armor into those woods. With the cavalry, we'll move this armor to the south. They're in range, but they don't have enough action points to shoot. And then our air units here, this guy, what does the flag represent? Morale. So their morale is low. They haven't lost any units, but their morale is 2 out of 6. 4 out of 6, 6 out of 6. 5 out of 6. All right, so we want to use our air power this turn, right? We have 3. We could save up and do a strategic bombing attack. Or we can use it for dive bombing. We've got German armor kind of in the open here, so I'm going to do a dive bombing attack. 4 to 9, 3 to 7, they're in the woods. 2 to 5. Right, let's get the enemy recon car in the open. A nice IL-2 there going dropping. Thanks for the follow, Dutch. And Aces High. And Redfin. Alright, so I think that does it for this turn. We won't have enough air points to do an attack next turn unless we take another airfield, which I don't see any other airfields to take unless we get way over here to the left, so... But we will, I guess, end our turn. I don't know that there's anything else to do right now, right? Like, some of these guys can still move, but I don't want to move them yet, so we'll go ahead and end the turn. What is the difference here? Oh, those are just tooltips. All right, we'll end the turn. Thank you for the bits, Dwalin. All right, so the enemy's got some mortars that they're going to hit our lead armored units there. They did a fair bit of damage to the anti-tank unit there. They're also going to use their armor to attack my lead recon vehicle, and wow, they didn't hit the recon vehicle at all, and the recon vehicle damaged the enemy armor. Meanwhile, infantry's coming in here on our anti-tank gun, and they are shooting it up something fierce. But our boys are holding their own, I think. Looks like, anyway. The armor, the anti-tank unit might get destroyed there, but, or it's almost dead at the very least. But it's certainly killing quite a few of the enemy here, and our tanks are chewing up that cavalry up in the north. Didn't quite expect the AI to go full-blown on the offensive here. They seem to be doing that. I'm also wondering if we got some entrenchment bonuses with the infantry down here, because it does look like there's barbed wire around them, and the Germans are attacking out of the open toward us. So I suppose that's an advantage of not using up all your action points, is that your units can still effectively defend. But yeah, the enemy, they did their darndest here. So let's see. I've only got 2 air points, which is enough to do recon, but I don't know that I need recon on where they're at. We could do an interception mission in the event we think the enemy's going to launch air attacks on us, but I'm not sure we need to do that. Let's see here. What have we got? We've got this 5 armor unit. Yeah, our anti-tank unit got destroyed. Okay. Where's our mortar artillery? Morale is important too here in terms of the damage we do. I've got to clear our front, so we're going to go ahead and drop a mortar attack. We didn't do a lot of damage. We've got enough AP to do 2 attacks. We did miss them, but it hurt their morale at least. It looks like they're about ready to run. Their morale is almost all down. The 2, they will not return fire. Captured. Interesting. Does that mean they surrendered to us? Captured. Nice. So we got 2 enemy units surrendering to our infantry, presumably because their morale is too low. So that's pretty cool. If their morale drops to 0, I guess they surrender. Yes, Eratus. This is sort of that old classic World War II turn-based strategy style game with some unique elements. Again, they definitely handle air units differently. And the way that you can stack like-minded armored units together is also kind of different. But all right, so we wiped out that hex of enemy troops. That's nice. What's the enemy morale look like here? 2 out of 6. 2 out of 6. So a recon car will attack this enemy armor, or light armor, I guess. Twice. The enemy retreats. We'll attack their infantry in the open here. I wonder if they were like in our zone of control and that's why they couldn't retreat, so they surrendered. We could have assaulted, which is there's another attack mode called assault, which gives you much better results in terms of like casualty ratios. All right, so we pushed forward. We destroyed that enemy infantry unit. We're pushing forward with our armor. Okay. Will they shoot back? They will. Their morale is 0, though. Any chance they'll surrender? No. Okay. I'm guessing they only surrendered because they didn't have anywhere to retreat, like they were too in close or something on our men, because they've got a 0 out of 10 again. Or 0 out of 6. They leveled up. Their experience leveled up. Damn. That's interesting. So do they get a fresh 10? They get, when they level up, they get full replenishment of health? Fuck. That's different. Okay. Anyway, we're pushing in the south. We're destroying quite a few of the enemy units. Let's do the assault option here. So we're going to choose this assault option. This will attack a targeted hex and push the enemy out if victorious. Assault requires 2 ammo per unit. Morale and defender's entrenchment have very large impact on success chances. So basically, this is like a shock attack where the likelihood of success is not necessarily as good, but if you do have success, you do way more damage. So you can see there we lost 1 health and destroyed the enemy. So another enemy unit gone. So if we move here, that blinking Overwatch means they are going to attack us. But I need to move the troops there, right? Or just maybe move the cavalry there. Maybe that they can kind of act as scouts. I don't know if the Overwatch will work for multiple turns. Let's attack with both of these guys at range. Actually, I only chose one of them, didn't I? Miss, huh? Miss twice? Alright, so they will not attack us again, but if we do attack them, we will lose worse. What if I attack with everybody? Can I not? Can I assault them? What's the chance? Only a 10% chance of success? That seems like a bad idea. So let's not do that. All right, what are we going to do with our artillery here? We've already launched most of our attacks in the south. So let's, I guess, bombard these troops kind of in the center. One unit retreated. They're still gonna they're still gonna... We have gained some prestige. All right, we did some damage there with that anti-air unit attacking. Got rid of the enemies. Oh, wow. That's a lot of damage taken. Probably is, I'm assuming it's because they're dug in, right? All right, we'll finish off that enemy infantry unit. And I think that's everybody's move. So we'll save the air for next turn. See what the Germans have. They obviously have a bunch of units. It feels like the Germans probably have more units than we do. What do we have here? Level up perk available. Soft attack +1, ignore rivers. There are some rivers, but not a ton on this map. So that recon unit leveled up. Let's go ahead and do the soft attack. So you get to like upgrade units as they gain experience. Who's this for? This is for infantry. Closed attack. This unit has 3 additional soft attack and hard attack when attacking enemy in closed terrain. Or they change movement to motorized. Let's do close attack. This isn't a very large map. Ooh, now they're over strength. They're at 12. Well, welcome, Fly. It's good to have you here. Assault a heavily entrenched position. Now you're thinking Soviet. I suppose that's accurate. All right, let's end that turn. Let's see what the Germans have or are going to do. They're attacking my armor. Or no, my troops are attacking their armor. We had an overwatch, so they moved into my line of sight, if you will, and we shredded that unit. We inflicted 4 hit points on them. They're hitting my arty with their own. Oh no, they destroyed it. Counter battery fire, no. I need that guy. I like the little sound effects of the bullets tinking off the armor. Man, they're tough. That was an assault, so they got more I guess success. This is the first battle. Shouldn't it be easy? What the hell did they just shoot at me? That was like a bazooka. That was like a Panzerfaust. It's 1941, boys. What are you shooting at me? All right, so we lost our anti-tank unit in the first turn, and we lost our field artillery in the second. We don't have enough points to build more yet. We do have enough air units to launch a dive bombing attack on some of these German armored units. We can do 5 damage there, or 5 there. This guy's in the open. We could do up to 6. I'd be tempted to go for the enemy's overstrength armored unit, but I think the most important place probably is here because they're pinching into our flank. So let's do this guy's a light tank. This is they're both light tanks. 5. Let's get the stronger one, I guess. Aisle 2. All right, we got him. We'll have enough for another attack next turn. bastard. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap this video up here. We are still in the early phases of the counterattack at Moscow in the Soviet campaign in Total Tank Generals. We'll pick this up in our next episode and conclude this battle in that episode. But I think you've got sort of the general how you play mechanics that we've kind of looked at things, and we'll see how we overcome the Germans. We have managed to make a little bit of progress here, but it seems like there's quite a bit of strength in front of us, and we'll see if we're able to win a victory in our first battle in this game. This was my first look at Total Tank Generals. As I've said previously, full transparency, this is a sponsored video, so thank you to the folks at 505 Games and Noobs from Poland, the publisher and developer of this game, for making that possible. I do appreciate that. I'm actually enjoying myself quite a bit, though, just being totally honest. This has been a nice new looking turn-based war game that I think takes a lot from some of the classical games in this genre, but also has some unique things, specifically around air power. How that works, I think, is a really well done addition. I'm also kind of a fan of the way that stacking and assaults work. We haven't seen a ton of that yet in the game, but we will see it more in the future episodes. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. So I hope you guys did enjoy. And until next time, this is the Historical Gamer, as always, saying thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out.